this is Russ. Yeah, I'm back in the car again, leaving Costco. What time is it right now? 12:02 p.m. Yep. Late in the day. Man, there's a lot of cars here. Gotta wait for these cars to pass before I can get into the lane here. Wow, non-stop cars. Yeah, well, I guess it is lunch hour, so everyone's coming in, I guess. Okay, there's a little break in the action so I can go. So here's some interesting things to tell you today. So anyway, being late in the day, well, it's not late in the day, but for me it's late. It's 12 noon. But anyway, obviously Costco is going to be fairly busy. So the food court gets kind of busy too, right? So there's always limited seating available. They don't have that many available. And so if you don't sit at a table, they have those 4 standing tables. And nobody wants to stand on those tables, but they, if you have no option, that's what you do. People are afraid to ask if they can sit next to somebody else. I mean, you don't sit next to them. I mean, if there's only one guy on the table, I'll usually go up to that person and ask them if they would mind sharing their table. You look really bad if you say no, by the way. Because, I mean, it's busy. You're only sitting there by yourself, So anyway, I was sitting at the table by myself, and the guy on the table in front of me was finishing up, and he waved over one of the kids. There was already 2 or 3 other kids on one table, and this other kid, and these are high school kids, knew that more friends would be coming, so he accepted the guy's table because the guy was getting ready to leave. But his friends are sitting across from me, next to me on the side. So my table would be perfect for him to sit at, because then they all could kind of converse together and they could move the tables together, right? So I said to the kid, I says, hey, look, I'll move to that table from the other guy. You move to my table, then you guys can sit together. So he was very appreciative of that. And of course, other kids came, and then they all were able to sit together. Okay, that's good. So I'm sitting there, and I'm eating my pizza, right? And then I noticed I'm just looking at my my watch there for notifications. I noticed an older gentleman and his wife kind of standing by the standing tables. They hadn't gotten their food yet. The guy hadn't gone to get it, but they're looking. Where can we sit? So I waved to the guy, and the older gentleman kind of acknowledged me, and so he asks his wife, "You want to just move over there?" And she said no. I must have been kind of scary looking or something. He was willing to go. She wasn't. Yeah, sometimes people won't sit next to you, or they won't sit with you. It always makes me feel kind of funny. I always think, is it the Asian in me that's scaring you off, lady? What is it about me that's scaring you off? I always wonder, if somebody else would have asked, would she have accepted, right? Eventually, somebody else got up, and then they moved to that table instead. And then I was finishing up my pizza, and then there's this mom with 2 little girls, and I just waved them over because I was finishing. So she says, "Oh, thank you so much." They didn't have to sit with me. If they have little kids and stuff, I usually won't want them to sit with me anyway, simply because you don't want to look like you're a child molester or something like that. If they're an adult, I'll ask them if they want to sit down next to me. That's fine, but I won't do that for little kids unless I'm leaving, right? And I was getting ready to leave at the time, so there you go. Put in the comments, what do you think about that? You think the lady was just, oh, I'm not going to sit next to that Asian guy. Forget that, I don't know. People have their reasons. All right, let me have some of this. Not so bad. So here's what I did. In the last video I mentioned about combining Coke Zero with Diet Coke. So I did a little more than a quarter, not quite a half. What would that be then? Not quite a half, little more than a quarter. I put a Coke Zero in there, and then I filled the rest up with Diet Coke. It seems if I do that, the Diet Coke neutralizes some of that floral taste. I don't know what else to call it, but to me it tastes like a floral taste, aftertaste on the Coke Zero. And the Coke Zero seems to give it a little bit more sweetness that the Diet Coke doesn't seem to have. So let me try again. Yeah, I think that's probably the best combination for me at this point. If I'm gonna get anything from Costco as a diet drink, I'm gonna do it that way. Yeah, I might eventually do 50-50. I might start getting used to the Coke Zero. I don't know, but typically a quarter, a little bit more than a quarter, and then the remaining as Diet Coke seems to be okay. So I mentioned in my other video that the Max restaurant had Pepsi Zero. I'd never tasted Pepsi Zero before. Pepsi Zero was okay. Yeah, I don't know the exact difference between that and regular diet Pepsi. So I don't know if I'll ever be able to get a comparison there. But I don't see Pepsi Zero that often at different places, but they had it there. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting that the lady, the guy was willing to come, but the lady wasn't. Yeah. I mean, she didn't know if I was going to hang around or whether I was going to get up and leave. But if you looked at my pizza, you could see I was like only a quarter left of the pizza. So how long of it would you think it would be for me to actually get up and leave, right? So, nope, I turned her off somehow. And sometimes that's the case, you know. People don't want to. They don't want to sit next to people they don't know, or they don't want to converse with anybody that they don't know. I'm not like that, as you know. I'll talk to anybody. Yeah, pretty much I would. Yeah. Anyway, I think it was, I think it was my friend Stacy once said to me, I don't know if he said something or whether he made some type of thing, but he made some type of comment once, a long time ago, about, you know, it's just, all the guys that go fishing, you know, some of those guys are kind of rough type of guys, right? And I'll talk to those guys. You know, I'm fishing out there, they're fishing out there. And I think he was surprised. As you talk to those type of guys, they go, yeah, we're all out there fishing. I mean, they're standing next to you, you're standing there, you know, whatever, you know. I mean, there's a little bit of distance, but yeah, we kind of talk, and you build a rapport, right? He says, oh, those guys are kind of rough kind of guys. I go, not when we're all fishing. We're all of equal, we're not catching anything anyway. No, the fishing guys tend to, well, some of them don't, okay? Some of them tend to share some help with you, and others don't say anything. Yeah, they don't want you stealing their ideas of how to catch a fish. They don't even want you near them because they figure you're encroaching on their territory. Hey, you know, it's an open pier. Anyone could be there. But one unwritten rule is you don't stand directly right next to the guy when you're fishing and there's a whole long pier available. Okay? You got to give some distance at least between you and the other guy. First off, nobody wants to cross lines when you're casting. Nobody wants your line to cross theirs. So you've got to have some distance between each other. I would say a minimum of 10 feet. Yeah, give them at least 10 feet because you don't know how that thing's going to cast out, right? You don't want to cross the lines. Minimum, I say 10 feet, maybe more even. But, you know, when we're out fishing, especially, you know, if you're on Lake Michigan, the pier is pretty high up, right? So you need a long fishing net, one with a really long pole. In fact, Fishing Jim and I actually got in together to purchase a longer fishing net. He had one, but it wasn't quite long enough. You always had to kind of bend and lean over to get the fish from way below the fishing pier. So we said let's just get a better one. So we pooled our money together and bought a bigger one. And sometimes these guys that are out there fishing, sometimes they don't bring a net. I don't know why. You know how big a salmon is when you pull it out? That thing could be pretty heavy. You snap the line before you even bring it up. You have to net it to bring it up to be safe. So whenever we see people like that and they don't have a net, or they're fighting the fish, but you can tell they're gonna struggle trying to get this thing in the net and hold the fishing rod at the same time. We'll go up and we'll ask if they want help, and most of them will say yes, thank you, and then we'll net their fish for them. So yeah, you you just got to learn to build a rapport with people. We all come from different walks of life, and but getting some help from some people, so it's okay. I mean, they may not be the type of people that I would normally converse with and do things with, but when you're out there, you work together. That's how it works. Yeah, and they're usually very appreciative of it, and then you talk for the remaining part of the day. All right, that's basically all I have for you guys for today. I just want to let you know what had happened again at Costco. Sometimes that happens. People, they don't take your offer of, hey, you can sit here if you like, and sometimes I'm at the tail end of my food. Offering the table to them to come here is not meaning come sit here and talk with me. It's just come sit here and take over the table while you have the chance, because the minute I get up, someone else is going to take it, right? So if I give them the opportunity and they come on over, they can take it over. It's just like the mom and the two little girls, right? She came over, she took it over, I got up right away and left. Yeah. But had I done it and not waved her over, somebody else probably would have jumped in there before she would have got it with the two little girls. So, all right. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know what you think about all that. Talk to you guys next time.